Hey, I'm L.J. Martin, and I want to welcome you to the kitchen at Wolfpack Ranch, where we're all about good food and country cooking. I don't know what country till I look in the pantry and see what we're going to fix up today. But it's going to be good, it's going to be delicious, it's going to be succulent, it's going to be stick to the ribs, and you and your family are going to love it. Hey, I want to welcome you back to the kitchen at Wolfpack Ranch. We're thrilled to have you. We're thrilled to be here in the shadow of the beautiful Sapphire Mountains in Montana. You know, we're blessed here with some of the greatest beef in the world. We have wonderful lamb, wonderful, that other white meat, pork. We're neighbors with Washington, Oregon, and they share all that wonderful fish, both fin and shell. But the beef, gotta love the beef. Kat and I were blessed to also be doing a little traveling. We spent 3 weeks in Tuscany. Tuscany was wonderful. I mean, the people were wonderful, the country was magnificent, the weather was even good to us while we were there. I have been over quite a bit of Europe, working with Kat in some of her books and trying to make sure she got the research that she needed to have done. And when we in all those travels, I never found a great piece of meat in all of Europe until we got to Tuscany. I was absolutely thrilled with the Tuscan T-bone, and they served it all over Tuscany. Lots of great places. Wonderfully browned, great big piece of meat that they sliced up and served to 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on how many. I saw them cook a piece twice as thick as this. Wonderful T-bone. So we're going to do a steak rub. We're going to do a little pasta to go with it, and that's going to be a great deal of fun. But first, so I don't get in trouble with my darling and mess up this shirt, I'm going to put on this sissy apron. True test of a good chef is if he can tie his apron. These beautiful big T-bones, I usually do it with a meat thermometer. We can do the old trick about done, medium rare, rare, but we want it perfect. It's an expensive piece of meat. And so we're gonna work it over with a meat thermometer. First thing we got to do is this wonderful steak rub. I keep this spice grinder in the spice rack so it doesn't get confused with the coffee grinder. What it is a coffee grinder. And you can use this to grind both your coffee and your spices, but if you don't clean it really good, your coffee's going to come up tasting like oregano. If you do have to use your coffee grinder, clean it with white rice. Grind 3, 4 handfuls of white rice through it and dump them out, and then it ought to pretty well take the flavor out. We are going to do a coffee rub, which is a little bit unusual. What we've got here is a half a cup of coffee beans, nice rich coffee beans. We're going to use a tablespoon of cornstarch. It makes it bind real well to the steak. We're going to touch it with a little salt. That's a pinch, maybe 2 pinches. We're going to use some garlic powder. I'm going to use about a well, that's too much. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of garlic powder in there. Put the rest of it back. I'm going to use some beef bouillon cubes to help give it that wonderful beef flavor. And I'm going to use a full tablespoon, too much again, full tablespoon of those wonderful beef bouillon cubes. And I'm going to use a teaspoon of oregano. Teaspoon of oregano. Let's see if we can make all that work. Little noise. I believe we got us a steak rub. Okay, full size. We're going to knock some of that off right there. Since this is so nice and thick, we're going to do it on, whoa, got a little leaf there, a little Italian parsley. That's appropriate, I guess. Going to do it on the sides. We're going to do it on the top. going to do it on the other side. We're having some fun. This hadn't been too tough. I learned a long time ago, you admire a big horse and you saddle a small one. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. I guess you gotta like to make a mess so you do this dish, which we have done here. I am gonna wash my hands real quick. We're gonna make sure that we got the excess of this off. We don't want it to taste completely like coffee. I'm gonna put it on a rack, on the pan, and I'm gonna put it in a 375-degree oven, 375 degrees. Now, while that beautiful piece of Montana beef is cooking, we're gonna get ready to do our pasta. Got a few mushrooms. Cut them thick, try to keep my fingers. I've got some fresh oregano here that I pulled right out of my garden. I've got some Italian parsley and I got some regular parsley. Let's just wad that baby all up and see if we can make small ones out of the big ones. Isn't that something, the way that works? We also have some wonderful dried tomatoes. Not really dried because they've been dried, and I put back in what I presume is some nice olive oil. We're going to use about a quarter cup of those little guys. I got a little white balsamic here. I'm going to scrub my hands one more time. We also have here a couple of 3 little cloves of garlic. We're going to get the skins off of those little guys. What's Italian cooking without garlic? Okay, some nice little pieces of garlic here. We're just going to shower them up. Parsley a variety, mushrooms, and asparagus. I love asparagus. We're going to use just the tips of these little guys, and we're going to save these to go in a soup or another dish. Let's see if we can make a skillet hot here. I'm going to just get this ready. I'm also going to drop, it's a little bit too soon. I'm got to wait a few minutes for that meat to get a little farther along before I do our pasta. We can talk about pasta though. You know, I was over all the northern half of Italy. I've seen, been in a lot of restaurants in the U.S. and everybody talks about al dente pasta. Well, a lot of these folks carry it to a big extreme. I don't like it to bite back. I want my pasta to be soft enough to chew. And al dente really means just a little resistance to the bite. And that's the way we ought to try to get it. Not crunch, that's too much resistance. We're going to sneak a little meat thermometer in here. Normally I'd do this outside, but we had a nice rainy day today, and we don't need to be outside anymore for a while. We're going up here a little bit over 100 degrees. Now we're going to do some pasta. Hey, here we go. We're going to do some pasta now. I got a little box here of beautiful penne rigate, and I'm going to dump that right in this roiling, boiling water and pre-salted water I had going already. Let's see if we can't make some pasta. That's going to take a few minutes before we get it to the al dente, where it's just barely resistant to the tooth. And then we're going to do some tricks with the dried tomatoes reconstituted in olive oil, all these wonderful asparagus tips, the mushrooms, and the parsley of a couple of different kinds, and some oregano in there, just for fun. I got a little butter and a little olive oil in here. We're going to hit it with a few mushrooms. Add the most important ingredient, and that's the garlic. There's a little olive oil in there. There's a little bit of butter in there. I'm probably going to add some olive oil. Now I'm going to add those wonderful little tomatoes that are reconstituted. A little coup de grace here. We're going to throw in some asparagus tips. And we're going to medley this, I guess you could call it. Whatever you call it, it's pretty. This pasta is just nice and resistant to the tooth. Al dente. We're going to colander it here. Get it all nicely drained out. Okay, we're going to go right back over here to another bowl. We are going to add a little Parmigiana to it. I got to visit Parma, wonderful quaint town right in the halfway across Italy. That's about half that package of Parmigiano Romano. And you folks that know how to speak Italian, don't be laughing at me because of my Italian pronunciation. I got by in Italy. I found the bathrooms. I found all the good places to eat and everything that was necessary. Okay, we're going to be right back in a minute. Old cowhand one time told me if you got a hill to climb, waiting won't make it smaller, so we're going to get after it. We'll be right back. Toss him up. Make him beautiful. Pretty as a little Italian signorina. Okay, here we are. I'm going to put this wonderful parsley and fresh oregano on these guys. I'm going to toss it one more time. Set in a real lightly heated oven, 170 degrees, as far down as I can turn it, and I'll be right back. I don't want it to get soggy. Okay, let's try some meat, huh? We have 120, I think, as thin as this guy is. I am going to take his word for it. He's coming out. We're going to slice him up. Okay, I will tell you that we like our meat a little on the rare side, so let's see if that's what we got here. Oh, too bad. Perfect. That is the New York side. This is the filet side of the loin, which is what makes up one of these wonderful T-bones. Got a little something for everybody here as you get toward the outside. Obviously it's a little more done, but it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful medium rare in the middle. I couldn't have done that better if I'd have been Italian. Okay, I think we ought to serve it up, but chef's privilege. First thing that happens, I get a bite. Makes me want to go back to Tuscany.